All right, so let's get into Ethereum today and what's been happening with all of the updates over at Ethcc. We've got a lot of clips for you and also a rundown on maybe how Ethereum is going to be affected in the long term. So if you guys are an ETH lover, you don't want to miss this one. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Let's get into a couple of things. Looking at the line here, this is just showing you guys. I'll pop that up for you. This is the line going into Ethcc in Paris. So pretty amazing that we see this much activity, especially around a bear market. You know, I would say kind of still in a bear market, but a lot of activity here, obviously, in the streets of Paris as Ethcc launches. This is going to be the first day material, so I'll exit out of that. A couple things I want to hit on first. Unstoppable has added support for ENS domains. If you guys, that's Ethereum name service. If you're not aware of that, you should be. But it is a way for you to kind of own your own name, .ens or .eth through the ENS service. But that all is now tied into Unstoppable domains. So you can do that right here. One thing to be aware, it's a little different when you get an ENS service and you do an ETH or .eth renewal because it's annual. So you have to kind of set it up versus when you go into like a .nft through Unstoppable, where you just own it as an NFT. So a little bit different, just so you guys know, if you are holding a .eth, you make sure and resubscribe. So get your renewals back in, get that going. So one of the things I want to hit on first, and we'll get into a lot of scenarios here. This, of course, is Salsa. Now, Salsa is a POAP, basically a platform that connects to events. So it just takes a card that you might scan, drops you into a chat ecosystem or a group chat within that event. This, I think, will be one of the things that we've already talked about POAPs before, proof of attendance protocols. And I like them because, you know, we've seen and been around a lot of events in the past. And one of the things that's very difficult with events is it's so hard to communicate with others. And a lot of times they use these third-party programs that are, you know, you have to go download special apps, all those kind of things. And it doesn't really ever really completely work. So this, I think, might be a very intriguing way, especially in some of the more advanced tech conferences. We'll see how that might go, but make sure and check out Salsa. Another thing that they dropped was Sending Labs. This gets into, I guess, maybe an alternate version of, say, Lens Protocol. Let's just say Lens Protocol. If you're not aware of Lens Protocol, go back and watch our video. But in short, what Lens Protocol is a new way to do social media. You've got the ability to have one profile that utilizing across all sorts of different app platforms that can coexist and or exist within other apps themselves. So a lot of benefits. And again, if you want to see and really understand Lens Protocol, we're going to play a few things from the conference here that Lens Protocol dropped toward the end of the video. So stick around for that, because this is a big deal, because it could really impact maybe the future of social media, the future of things like Twitter, maybe the future of things like Threads. Even Mark Zuckerberg has talked a little bit about decentralized social media and what that means. So interesting stuff for sure. This just kind of shows some of the aspects. Let me pop out on that so you guys can kind of see some of this B-roll of it actually being used. And this, I think, as I've talked about before, this is the future of social media. So this is all future tech. It's stuff that we will see in the coming years start to play into everyday ecosystems, e-commerce, everything you do online. You guys are getting a chance to see this stuff actually being developed kind of in the open, in the wild, and catching it very early. The reason this is important is with these kind of ecosystems, it all supports a handful of tokens that will end up being a big benefit for that. Obviously, Ethereum on these announcements will be one of the largest. Here is W3W. This one right here, I want you to think about this as a CRM. And if you know what a CRM is, if you're in business today, you probably know customer relationship management is one of the biggest tool sets out there. It's one of the biggest SaaS products out there. If you think of Salesforce.com and others like that, that's a CRM. What W3W is trying to do is give you the capability of tying this into NFT, loyalty, and then being able to have the capacity to not only discover, you can do conversions, so target audiences, grow community with incentives, so being able to kind of expand between it, and then monitor what's happening within that ecosystem or within that audience. So think of that on a loyalty level for any kind of restaurant business, for any kind of retail business, fashion brands, etc. All of this could be tied into the future of what W3W is doing. So pretty cool stuff. Another thing here, when you look at what is going on, I wanted to break down this here because this is something that I think is important, especially at the sign of the times. You think about what SAG-AFTRA is doing and the Writers Guild. You guys don't follow that in content creators and movie making and all that. One of the biggest challenges has always been about residuals. And that, of course, is one of the sticking points. But if you think about this right here, getting paid by the second as a token streaming looks to disrupt total global liquidity. This is something that I think we're going to see more and more moving in. This was a company called Sablier. Now, they may or may not be the only company that will get into streaming payments. Streaming payments is as things go or happen, you as a creator or you as a company or you as an employee would be able to see streaming payments. So let's take it on the employee side. And you just tick that over on your ADP or your Gusto service, make that a streaming payment. Literally, that is streaming to the worker as they're doing the job on the fly. Imagine that in the creator community. Imagine that in something like in Hollywood. Imagine that in books. Imagine that in podcasts. Already happening kind of in the podcast with 2.0. So multiple streams all at once. So that would be another advantage. So creating dynamic streams. So again, being able to set this up as you guys are doing it. And if you think about this, dynamic payouts, audited and secured, those are the kind of things that really would help companies like, say, a Spotify or some of that nature to be able to pay out creators and a lot of those artists on the fly. This is where I think a lot of this technology is moving. Blockchain enables all of this and creates openness and also validity. So there's not the problem of knowing where payments are. All right, so Shopify is not to be left out on this. Shopify experiments with the new features in the field of Web3. One of the things they hit on is this right here. In detail, more than 4 million brands now and online stores will be able to use dynamic suite of rewards based on cryptocurrencies, token access, rights, and etc. It really changes anything in e-commerce. Here's an example kind of just showing a little bit about what this might look like. I'll expand that out there. Being able to literally tie this into a product, being able to connect right into something like what you might see there on Shopify, and then, of course, being able to utilize everything from tokens to cryptocurrency as payments. So again, a lot of our opportunity. This would drop in NFTs, getting premium access to certain events, tie this to a product. You can kind of start to see how this can really help brands and also help, I think, the luxury good business is probably going to be one of the bigger ones to check out. A couple of clips I want to play here. We're going to break into Lens Protocol a little bit. I want to go to the first clip on Lens Protocol V2 launching at Ethcc.
I want to introduce now the Lens Protocol V2. We basically rewrote the whole code base. One of the main features that we have that I'm personally super excited about is a feature called Open Actions. You can now create content, whether it's music, whether it's some interesting discussion, and you have commenting, mirroring, and the Web3 native collect feature. But in the future, now with Lens V2, you can extend to any kind of action there might be. It can be to buy an NFT ticket, joining a waitlist, joining a DAO, or anything you can actually imagine. You can create a post of your land in Sandbox and describe that land that you have and the history and what you have done previously, and allow other users on the protocol to actually buy that land.
All right, I know it's complicated, but think of it, in the capacity as an app store, as a protocol, an app store that is enabling all sorts of use cases that eventually will plug into an ecosystem that in nature would be social, but also could be retail. Think of that kind of application across everything that you might be using in the ecosystem and not having to re-sign up for things like that. That's where Lens Protocol is going. Let me go to clip 2, which is talking about the collective value share. Listen in.
Another interesting feature we have is the collective value share. What it means is that if you have a interesting content and you create something, different applications that are showing and distributing the content, the algorithms, even whoever is actually contributing to your content, they can all be in the same value loop. So you can pass any Lens profile to share revenue across the whole content supply chain.
That will be very interesting in the world of content creators, streaming, podcast, YouTube, other platforms that are starting to move in this direction. And I think we'll probably see companies that maybe are not even dreamed up yet that will really break out in Web3, especially for content creators. So more tech for sure. Let's go into this next clip, which is Profiles V2.
We have upgraded profiles now. Now the profiles are separated from, the handles are separated from the profiles, and the profiles are NFTs, and also the handles are NFTs. That creates an open namespace that you can actually not only change your handle to something else, you can have multiple handles per profile, but also it gives more power if you're using ENS, because you can create a lens profile and simply already attach an ENS name that you might own. And also NFTs can have a profile. So effectively when an NFT, like this very handsome CryptoKitty, can have a profile, it actually enables voice as well. So you can follow other NFTs with your NFT. You can talk, create content through your NFT, and create additional value.
All right, so this all, again, boils down to kind of ownership. This has been a problem that we've seen in Web2. You sign on to Facebook, your profile lives in Facebook. If you sign on to Twitter, your profile lives in Twitter. This protocol eliminates that. Your profile lives with you, and it's kind of self-custody. And wherever you plug into apps, platforms, banking, all sorts of things, that data is yours. Tying into that in Web3 will really be kind of the connective point, the tissue that will really take technology to the next level. Let's go to clip 4. This gets into the profile manager, which ties this all together.
Another feature that is very valuable, and this is probably asked the most, is the profile manager. You can store your profile safely in a cold storage and delegate the actual social actions into a wallet that you use day-to-day basis. No MetaMask pop-ups, no gasless and signless transactions, but also taking it to the next level. So Lens is still beta, so we are going to run Lens protocol completely publicly open, so anyone can create a profile in the future, and it's going to be fully accessible. And now I think we're going to release a testnet pretty soon, and meanwhile you can join a waitlist either for V1 or later for V2. So if you scan this QR code.
So a couple of things happening there. They do have a waitlist available. If you go to just mirror.xyz and go to Lens Protocol, you'd find it. The problem right now is that the waitlist page is broken, and the reason is they just had a lot of demand on it, so they're obviously going to have to fix that. But this only shows you the interest level that we're going to see. Now, granted, it's early, super bloody edge adopters when you think of it, not cutting edge, it's the bloody edge of where this is all going. So I'll be there, but I do think Lens Protocol is going to be one of those that will be one to watch for sure. Others that were presenting over at the event was Ethereum Layer 2 Mantle network, as they unveiled their mainnet and their alpha. This is all tied into some ZK syncs and scenarios that I think more, I won't get into all the technical aspect of this. What this simply means is that we're getting more and more builders on Ethereum. And this is important because remember, the biggest problem with Ethereum is all based on transactions. That's why Polygon exists. It's why a lot of these layer 2s exist, and how ZK Sync and rollups have been built out to essentially handle the growth of what Ethereum most likely will experience in the next few years. Aave's GHO stablecoin also has been launched. And one of the things I wanted to highlight, a few things, they announced the GHO launchment over at Ethereum mainnet. A couple of things they pointed into, which I thought were kind of cool. Users who mint GHO using the Aave protocol still earn yields on their collateral deposits, so reducing the cost of borrowing it over time. If you stake Aave and the lending protocol's native token, you could also mint GHO at a discounted rate. That's an advantage. And then users have also minted about 2.5 million GHO since its launch. So it represents a very small amount of the $128 billion stablecoin market that is in very early state. This is ETHCC day one. So imagine what we're going to see. And this is just the beginning of where this technology is moving. Here is another one, and this gets into Uniswap. And you guys have not been following the Uniswap token. It's one we keep on the CPI, the Crypto Power Index, doing well, decently over the past few weeks. Hayden Adam unveils the Uniswap protocol to aggregate DEX liquidity. So this is another advantage. I want to play a couple of clips here of what's happening over at Uniswap. So listen into this first clip, and let's go to that one.
So excited to announce a project called UniswapX. UniswapX basically works by, all orders now start off as off-chain signatures, which we are calling Dutch orders. So these orders are essentially auctions. The sort of way sandwiching works is that you often get the worst price you're willing to receive, and what we expect here is that you will get, the best price that is available. So there is an opt-in beta live today. It is a slow rollout. Then, you have the option to opt in to UniswapX in settings, or it can pop up on certain trades.
All right, so again, more advancements with what Uniswap is doing. Another area that was released there at Ethcc is in the banking category. Where we might see this in the future are with projects like Gnosis. So I want to play this first clip right here. It's on Gnosis Pay. Listen in.
What we enabled is that you can trigger a SEPA transfer via Gnosis Pay from really any wallet and any chain. And here on the right side, you see I can directly select an IBAN, any SEPA transfer. As you can see on the left side, I really trigger the SEPA transfer right from my wallet. Going a step further, we can also do the other directions. So on the left side, you can see my Revolut, but this could be any other banking interface, that supports SEPA. Press the transaction, and less than 2 minutes later, on the right side, you can see the block explorer, Stablecoins at exactly 100 euros, so no fees, no kind of really one-to-one. You get what you pay, or you get what you see, were minted into this account.
All right, so again, more advancements in the banking sector for how technology will implement through blockchain. I want to go to this next clip on Gnosis Pay. Listen in.
But we are going a step further and present the second thing, actually the Gnosis card that will be available from essentially today. Please, in the audience, someone give me a number between €1 and €10. Yeah, so here's my Gnosis Pay card. Let's see, I tap it, okay? And yes, so
Approved.
Transaction approved. But wait, I mean, never believe something you don't see on chain. 963. So yeah.
All right, so validation of payment, there's some big opportunities here, I think, of being able to move money around. And this is another advantage for what could be the next generation banking system. And I think the neobanks will most likely lead the way in this. They could literally break out very quickly into some of the largest financial institutions in the world with this kind of leapfrog technology over what we've seen over the past years with what banking has done. Let's jump over to their debit card, because they're also talking about going into debit cards.
You can personalize it. You can actually use your ENS name on the card. You will be able to use it with any wallet. Even going a step further, we set up this infrastructure that enables every community or every wallet to issue their own cards. That's where we are available right now.
All right, so good branding. And that's kind of done already, but not necessarily in the blockchain side of things, ecosystem-wise. A lot of opportunity there. So as you can see, you can actually go in and actually do this now. There is some limitation on this. It's not available in the US for those of you listening in the US or watching in the US. Not available, but they are saying that it is one of the target markets that will happen. And I think, again, this is all where you'll be able to just go right in, connect your wallet, and off you're flying with basically getting your account and then tying into a card and then essentially becoming your own bank for your credit card, debit card, and or your pay infrastructure, which enables you of getting money from traditional banks into the crypto ecosystem. Another big win, I think, for what's happening in the Ethereum ecosystem overall. So when you look at Ethereum, guys, this is the thing that, as you know, we've talked about so much here on this channel. It is one of those technologies that just starts to change the way things are done. And I think as we see, especially layer 2s, be able to handle the scalability of transactions, that is really the key thing, which has, again, been why things like Polygon and others have been so successful, and I think will be in the future. So We're going to continue to cover the Ethcc event. There could be more. Vitalik, to my knowledge, had not spoken yet. Today was day one. But we'll most likely get quite a bit of news coming out of that will affect Ethereum both short-term and long-term. So make sure and stick around for that. If you're listening in over on the podcast, join us here on the YouTube channel. You get a chance to catch all this good stuff. And you can also join our Diamond Circle. Very simple. We always leave a link down below so you can get part of that. And if you guys want to reach me, it's out there on Twitter, @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.